All right. I wanted to do a response to Vegas Dave and his prediction about the card collapse in the year 2024. There are a lot of heated comments in there, a lot of negativity in that video, and as a result, he also got many dislikes. And he also went after Gary Vee, who is a very positive person. So, a lot of people like Gary Vee, and I like Gary Vee because he's positive, right? And he has hinted that, there will be a time where this market will go lower. But he attacks Gary Vee and he says that the market's going to crash in 2024. And he says that this is going to be like subprime, even though not everyone's involved with it. It's going to crash all of a sudden. And his reasoning was, okay, there's a fractional based card companies now coming out, and this is not the same way as investing in cards. Well, here's my analysis. Number one, the market has been on fire for the past year or so because the Federal Reserve has printed all this monopoly money. And initially, this monopoly money is going to go into collectibles. It's going to go into fine arts. It's going to go into sports cards. And it also has gone into the stock market. I talked about this in my video about last week and what I'm doing to prepare myself for the coming crash. But I do believe there will be a good buying opportunity at that point. But anyways, going back to the Federal Reserve printing all this monopoly money, it's increasing the money supply. When you increase the money supply, you get lower interest rates. So here's a basic economic concept. There's this Nobel Prize winner, Hayek. And he says if you keep interest rates too low for too long, you're going to create a bubble. And we already have seen overinflated prices. That's because the Federal Reserve printed all this monopoly money, more monopoly money in the system, lower interest rates. And the Fed is keeping rates too low for too long. And when you do that, we're going to create a bubble. And eventually they will gradually raise rates. But by the time they gradually raise rates, the party's over. So what happened during subprime was in 2001 after 9/11, Alan Greenspan lowered rates like crazy, printed all this monopoly money to get the economy going. So the economy boomed. It was based on housing. And then eventually when Bernanke, the other Fed chairman, he raised rates, it's called the Fed funds rate. He raised it to about 6%, if I remember correctly, maybe 5%. Don't remember off the top of my head. Those interest rates were too much for the economy to handle at that moment. And the same thing's going to happen this time. Now, they can't raise interest rates to 5 or 6% like they did back in 2006, 2007, because we have too much debt in the system. So I do agree with Vegas Dave that this market's going to collapse in the next few years. And what's going to end up happening is these rates go up too much for the market to handle. The stock market's going to puke. The card market's going to puke. All these rich people are going to sell because they don't want to be the last guy holding the bag. Now, I believe around that time, there will be opportunities to buy cards. And, I saw Vegas Dave where I disagree with him is that, the whole market's over, the whole sports card industry is over and whatnot. I don't agree with that. That will be a good buying opportunity because here's what's going to happen. Right now we have so many people, unfortunately, that have been screwed over with COVID or with the COVID policies. So a lot of things have been shut down, and as a result, more people will be dependent on government. And when this next crash comes, even more people will be dependent on government. We're going to see a recovery for the next few years. So cards should be doing well for the next few years, right? Once more people get the vaccines, there will be more confidence for these hotels and travel and leisure, go back to work. Everything's going to open back up. Everything opens back up. But here's the problem. When the economy gets too overheated, we're going to see that correction and potentially a crash in the upper end items. That's what always happens when you see a stock market decline. But get this. since more people will be dependent on government in the coming years, what does that mean? It means that more stimulus checks will be sent out to people. So the same cycle is going to happen all over again. In my opinion, the dollar will decrease, and more money printing will lead to another bull market in sports cards. They'll go up. It's like Bitcoin a few years ago. So Bitcoin went from $1 to about $20,000 a few years back, and then it crashed to about $3,000 last year. And then the Fed printed all this monopoly money. This monopoly money went out of the dollar basically. The dollar depreciated. It didn't go even down that much, like 13%. But I could talk about the dollar index another day, another video. So all this monopoly money is going to go into, once again, collectibles. It's going to go into fine art. It's going to go into even rare and scarce items. These auction houses are going to do fantastic after this crash. And initially they will struggle, right? But guess what? What happened, in 2007, 2008, right? People were still buying real estate. I don't know if you guys remember. People were buying homes like crazy. 2009 was a great year for people to start reinvesting in the real estate market. If they bought then, 2009 to 2011, they're doing fine now. So, so that's where I disagree with Vegas Dave once again, that, the whole industry is over. No, it's not, because the dollar is most likely going to go down because, we have trillions of dollars in debt in the United States. So that's why I am still bullish despite this market crash that I see coming in the next few years. And, I've been going back and forth with people online about this, and the stock market right now is in line with the sports card market. However, I think that will decouple, after this next crash. I think collectibles will start to gain traction, if the stock market does bad. Because this is what happened in the 1970s. Stocks went nowhere, but commodities went higher. Collectible cards went higher as well. So it's going to be like that. But right now the pattern is the card market is in line with the stock market. And if you guys want to see who is calling, who has had a good track record, his name is Avi Gilbert. I recommend all you guys to check him out. Just because he's been right all along, I have to just always say, past performance doesn't mean he's always going to make the right call. But he's right more times than not. And he has interesting ways of figuring out the moves in the stock market. And like I said, stock market is in line with the card market. And even if you go back to the PWCC index, from 2009, it bottomed out at that time, 2009, when the stock market bottomed out in March of 2009. So those are my 2 cents. Let me know what you guys think. I'll talk to you later. Bye.